hello.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to the ComiQueens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie. And today, Alex and I are really excited to talk to you all about some really nice wintry stories. I guess the caveat being they are not the sole purpose of being surrounded by winter necessarily. More just like take place in the wintertime, kind of help with the aesthetics of the season, you know? But we have a couple of really exciting stories to highlight. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in. First and foremost, a huge congratulations to Maria for All Colors of Snow now being announced as an original series. I know it'll take a little while for it to come out as an originals on Webtoon, but it is so well deserved.
Yes. I'm very excited to start that story from the beginning and reread it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like I've done 5 different times already because I just can't get my fill of it. It is so perfect. I'm so happy for it to come back as an originals, mostly because obviously we've met Maria. Well, we've spoken to Maria.
Yeah.
We'll meet eventually. It'll happen. But it is going to be so amazing. I love reliving the story. I'm so happy that everyone else will get to do it and as an original series.
Yes.
So many, many congratulations. If you haven't read that, it is definitely a fun one to do in the winter. Lots of snow, beautiful scenery. So highly recommend, of course, as we've said 17 other times. But also Alex and I kind of dabbled with a series that was only 1 episode. It was super fun.
I loved it.
So this one is called Winter Wonderland. This is a thriller on Webtoon by the creator Leaf Femto. I'm not going to talk too much about it, mostly because that would spoil the entire episode.
Yeah.
But the entire thought is, where do you think Santa got his elves from? I loved this.
It was so good. It's, obviously a super quick read since it's 1 episode. So everyone go look at it now.
Yeah, you have no excuse. It's 1 episode, but it is so good. I love the imagery and the way that they took their own approach on everything. So very unique. And last but very much not least, before we hop right in, wanted to highlight that there is a story that just came out with an episode in November. It's called Cramping on Christmas by Cavity Draws. This story, I want it to happen so bad. So far, there's only like promotional images for them to get used to the platform, everything like that. But this story is about Krampus and Santa Claus being in a relationship.
I am so excited for this. I love Krampus.
I know you do. It honestly sounds so good. I'm just so excited. I want this to happen and to come to life because I want to read every single episode of this idea.
It sounds like a really cute concept, too. I just went and saved it so that I can come back to that later.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely worth it. It's going to be great. I can feel it in my bones. It just needs to release now.
Yeah.
And then we'll be good.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten through all of our special announcements, I'm going to go ahead and hop in with the first story that we read today. This one is called Winter Circle. It's an ongoing series on Webtoon that releases on Wednesdays. It's a fantasy series with 98 episodes so far. So highly recommend getting caught up. The episodes are somewhat of a good length, so it will take you some time to catch up. But the story opens up with Kyrian. He is a boy back in the year of 1103. He is talking with his mom, who has created something called the Snowflower. And he's asking her how she created this. Like, he's like, teach me your magic. And it's not magic, it's something else. But they talk about the different elements that go into using this. And it is knowledge, imagination, and willpower. They talk about how magic is almost just a manifestation of what these people are wanting to portray to everybody else. And in doing so, just with their strong imagination and willpower, they make it come to life. So she's trying to teach Kyrian, who is extremely curious, on how to use these powers. And he says, what happens if you don't have the imagination? What happens if you don't have enough knowledge? And she talks about how you need to have that good balance before everything can happen. Unfortunately, in this world, it falls into ruin. It actually becomes this terrible, frigid land that nobody really understands. It's called the Winter Circle. And in the present day that we're at, in the year of 2098, it is almost like a real life snow globe.
Oh my
So the
gosh.
rest of the world experiences all of the seasons. It's summertime, but our main character, Sam, is on summer vacation and her mom has to go and do research within the winter circle. So they're exploring around. She's in this castle. She has no real idea. She's like maybe middle school, high school age. And she has no idea really what the winter circle is. It's kind of just a puzzle that her mom is trying to piece together. And her mom has been researching this for a while. So in her job, she's trying to research what these magical powers are because people in the modern day don't use these powers. And so in trying to gain an understanding, she says there's a fourth element that goes into all of it, which is your emotions. And she goes, no one considers how your emotions can play into the three different elements of knowledge, willpower, and imagination in actually helping those powers to come to life. And so her mom is doing all of this research and Sam is just kind of running around keeping herself busy. She's like, great, I'm on summer vacation and I'm in a freezing cold snow globe place that nobody understands. But as she's running around this castle, she ends up seeing all of these pictures of a boy who has like black skin and these like crystalline snowflake imprints on his head. And she's just so enamored with all the pictures and they're everywhere. It's pictures of the same boy. They cover the entire walls. And she has no idea what's going on. She's like, who is this boy? Why do you have so many pictures of him? Is he like a myth or a legend, whatever? Well, it turns out all of the people who live within Winter Circle and study there, they talk about how there is a character for them named Jack Frost. They go, he's real. You can hear him in the night. It's almost like loud wailing, but he stays at the edge of the woods and we see him. So it's almost tradition every year that they snap a picture and put it up on the wall because that's what keeps all of the magic flowing. So Sam kind of thinks it's fake. She's a little bit hesitant to believe everything that people are telling her, but she is super restless at night and the stories keep ringing through her head. And so she does go and like lean out her window and says, Jack Frost, stop wailing. I want to be your friend. And no one responds. She goes, well, this is BS. Like, this isn't real at all. So her and her family end up leaving after the summer break. And she meets up with her family friends who tell their parents that after going fishing, they ended up seeing a boy that was stuck underneath the ice at like the edge of this lake. So like the winter circle goes through and this boy was like trapped there in the ice. So they helped him out and he introduces himself as Kieran. However, the only person who can hear him is Sam. Everyone assumes that he's mute, but the family friends take him in and they go, oh, he can't talk at all. Kieran is a very curious boy. And he's like, I'm not from here. I'm not from this time in general. And the entire story is set up almost like diary entries, but you do see that he's the reason that Winter Circle is the way that he is. So it was basically a manifestation of his powers that he was unable to control. It is a very cute story. I love this. I think I said out loud as I was reading it, I want my son to read this one. It's hard for me to always find series that we can read together. So this is one I'd want for sure. I love it.
So cute. The one that I have to talk about first is also very cute. So this one is on Webtoon. It's called Sweet Leaf. Leaf with an E at the end.
Very fancy.
Yes. And it is 24 episodes. It's not updating. The last update was in April of 2023. So it's not currently updating, but I still recommend reading this one because where it stops is a good point. So if it never updated again, I would consider it a completed storyline at least. And this one is actually made for Instagram. So I looked at the artist after I read this series and they made a post on, you know how they have the comments where the creators can post things to their page. They made a post saying that you know, sorry for the formatting. It was made originally for Instagram, so everything is square, like that Instagram square. So it's really, really cool, and it actually goes on a little bit longer on Instagram. And the Instagram is at Sweet Leaf. Again, leaf with an E. So if you want to read it on Webtoon or Instagram, it looks the same in both places, and it goes on a little bit longer on Instagram.
I love that.
So this one is a Cinderella story, but make it heavy metal.
I love it.
I love it so much. So it takes place in Michigan in 1988. And we open with a guy named Pete. And he's at a bar with his two cousins, River and River. One of them goes by Z, though, so it's not confusing.
Different parents.
It's never said. They don't look alike, so I would assume.
You'd think that they would have, like, realized that one of them was already named River and maybe, like, shifted
Not
a little
done
bit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They're both named River. So the three of them are hanging out at a bar, and Pete runs into a girl named Nora. And she is getting ready to go smoke, and he asked to have one of her cigarettes, so they go and smoke outside together. And they like are talking. They find out that they're both like super nerds. They both really love Lord of the Rings, and they're both really into the same music, so they keep talking about all of their favorites and like go really in depth on that. And Pete even accidentally confesses that he had a cape phase when he was younger, where he wore a cape all the time. And
Good for him.
Yeah. And she doesn't run away at this, so he's like super excited that like he accidentally admitted this, and she's still hanging out with him. And they're both like just the most adorable little metalheads.
Aww.
Super, super cute, and absolutely smitten with each other. So eventually he asks for her number, and she is kind of hesitant to give it to him at first because she's like, you know, I've given my number out before, and all these guys are the same. Like, they say they want something, and then they just play games, and I'm over it. And he's like, I'm not like that. You're really cool. I really like you. I'd love to take you out on a date. So she ends up giving her number. And then she does the ultimate Cinderella thing where she's like, oh my gosh, what time is it? I have to leave right away. So she ends up leaving. And he goes back to his cousins, and they give him a little bit of shit for telling her about the cape. They're like, man, I can't believe you said that to her, and she stuck around.
There are some things you should keep to yourself.
So they all end up going home, and he lives in his grandparents' garage that he's converted into like his own little apartment. And so he's there. It's the next day. He wakes up. His cousin just comes in and is hanging out on his bed with a chicken.
You told me this?
Yeah.
And I was confused. I'm like, rotisserie chicken?
No, a pet chicken. You find out later it's his emotional support chicken.
As it should be.
Not something I would have. That sounds like a nightmare to me. But yeah, this is an emotional support chicken who is in the story, like throughout the entire story, goes on an adventure with them.
My favorite character.
So he wakes up. He's like, all right, I gotta call Nora right away. I need to call her and like set up this date because I said I would, and I don't want her to think that I'm playing games. He can't find the number, and he's like, okay, I left it in my jacket. Where's my jacket? It turns out that it's laundry day, and their grandmother has already put the jacket in the wash.
No.
So he goes to see it, and the number's gone. You can't read it at all.
I'm so sad for him.
I know. So he is panicking. He's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So one of his cousins suggests that they look in the phone book and find, he knows that her last name is Bird. Her name is Nora Bird. So they're looking, they call every single bird in the phone book, and none of them know a Nora. So he's like, oh, crap. Like, I was hoping that even if it wasn't her house, it would be someone who's related to her or knows her. And he's like, I don't know what to do. He also found out the night before that she's a waitress and that she was working the next day. That's why she had to leave. She had an early shift.
So he goes to every restaurant.
So they go to every restaurant.
Stop.
They're like, okay, the grandpa that they live with, he's pretty cool too. He's like an old hippie grandpa. He plays the mall Santa every year. He's got a huge beard. He is also like a metal grandpa.
Beautiful.
And he's like, I've made a map of all the restaurants in town because your grandma is not a good cook.
Dang, Grandpa.
So they take this and they go. They don't have jackets because everything is in the wash. So they end up stealing jackets from the grandma. So one has like a sparkly jacket with feathers. Another one has like a very leopard print jacket. And then the third one has a Western jacket with like fringe on it.
Really, they've never looked better.
So they look pretty good. And so they're going to every single restaurant. After the first two, Pete is like, okay, we have to speed things up. We cannot order food at every single restaurant.
It's
true.
Then
one of the cousins, River, the one who goes by River, not the one who goes by Z, is like, we have to stop at this restaurant because our friend from childhood, who I'm in love with, works there. Her name is Frances. So they go in, they talk to Frances. They're trying to figure out what to do. He's like, does she work here? No. Okay, we have to keep going. You also find out that the three of them are in a heavy metal band and they have broken up because Pete's girlfriend cheated on him with their rhythm guitarist. So they kicked the guitarist out. And now the two cousins have made flyers saying we need a new rhythm guitarist. And they put the reason on there because of the girlfriend. They didn't call her out by her name, but they put on there like, our last rhythm guitarist cheated on Pete with his girlfriend, so we need someone who won't do that. So only contact if you're not going to do that. And they're putting these flyers up all over town.
Only contact if you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So as they're going through trying to find Nora on this adventure, they're also trying to find a guitarist. And like throughout the whole thing, they're like making Lord of the Rings references. And
I bet you loved that.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. It was so cute. It's such like a little nerdy comic. And I'm not going to say what happens as they're on this adventure because I don't want to spoil the ending. But I really recommend that you read it. It's super, super sweet. It's just like, it's a unique concept. I adored this one. So cute.
I love the idea of like a little mystery journey that they're on.
They're on just a little adventure. And I love that.
That is so sweet. Also, that's determination because it's freaking cold in Michigan.
Yeah.
Especially that time of year.
Yeah. It's cold. They've got on their fancy jackets and they're just going on a little adventure.
Yeah. I think that those jackets are like staples in grandma clothwear.
They really are.
Like, that's my grandma's fashion for sure.
The thing is, though, when they put them on, like, they look perfect in them. It looks intentional.
Yeah. They were leaning into it. As they should.
The chicken also has a sweater.
You can't do that to me.
Yeah.
I love that.
So if that doesn't convince you to read it, I don't know what will.
They need the sweater. They're going to get cold.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I'm convinced. Okay, so I will talk about my last story for today. This one, not as cutesy and funny. It is gripping, but also heart-wrenching. So this is perfect for Alex.
Yes.
But I'm also in love with it. I bought the episodes because it is a completed series on Webtoon, and it's a daily pass release. So you only get 18 episodes free, and then you have to buy the rest of them.
Yeah.
Or you have to have the patience of a saint, and you have to wait the entire time, which some people can do. It's just not me. This story is called Winter Woods. It is a story about a boy who goes by Winter Woods because that was his given name in his who knows how manyth year of his life. Winter Woods started out as an experiment from an alchemist whose wife was pregnant, and he lost both his pregnant wife and the baby, obviously. And so he spends his entire life trying to pick up the pieces and create human life. He's like, I'm never going to get over my pregnant wife. I want to have family. I want to be surrounded by people I love. And he pieces together this person one by one. Think like Dr. Frankenstein, just piecing together this being. And it doesn't really work out super well because unfortunately he's able to find all of these different pieces of the body that he needs. He finds all the arms, he stitches it all together, but he's tried so many times, truly 1,000 times. And he's never gotten the being to be alive. Like the eyes can open, or like there are certain bodily functions that work. But unfortunately, there's no beating heart. Mm-hmm. And so on his 1,001st try, the alchemist does end up getting a heart inside of him that does help him to speak and read and do all of these functions. He can walk around like a normal person, but he's still not alive. There's no beating heart. His entire existence is not feeling these emotions because there's just no connection there. So the alchemist gives up and unfortunately has to succumb to his old age. But you learn that his experiment really was successful because he's created an immortal being. Mm-hmm. Since he's not alive, he can't die. And so you see this character in the future. We're now in present day. And unfortunately, he's just become a lab rat. People discovered him because he was continuing to live. And they do all these horrible experiments on him. Aww. You see that as soon as a doctor walks into the room, he immediately starts stripping off his shirt because he's used to people inspecting the different parts of his body and whether or not he can have feeling in certain areas and things like that.
Aww.
And the story shows you that a doctor walks in and instead of him taking off and getting inspected, they put a jacket on him and they go, you have to go now. I'm setting you free. And the character, who at this moment is known as EL01, mm-hmm. has no idea what to do. He takes his pet bird with him and he goes in the back of this doctor's car who goes, don't trust anybody. No one in life is going to do something for you unless they want something in return. So trust no one. Mm-hmm. And EL01 says, do I trust you? Can I trust you? And the doctor says no.
Oh.
So EL01 just kind of holds on to his bird, has no idea what to do, and the doctor drops him off outside with a slip of paper that has a name and an address on it. In the meantime, we meet our character, Jane, and she is a struggling author. She's a writer that has writer's block to the extreme. Can't come up with a good story to save her life. Her friend Sarah meets up with her in the cafe and goes, I think you just have to look at the life around you and wait for a good story to fall into your lap. Like, even if it's scary, whatever, like you just have to take that inspiration from the really intriguing things around you and it'll be fine. So Jane goes and walks out of this cafe and realizes that this terrifying, very pale, black-lipped man is now following her. And she is terrified. She goes up to her apartment and she knocks on the door and she's like, Mom and Dad, can you let me in? She's trying to make it obvious that she has people waiting for her. She's like, please don't kill me.
Yeah.
And EL01 walks up to her and says, are you Jane Reyna? And what is this number? Like, can you help me? And it is her. So she's extremely confused. She goes, okay, you're not a stalker, but how do you have my information? And she invites him inside. She goes, let's figure this out. I want to know how you got my information. You can come inside. And he goes, no, I can't. I can't trust anyone. And he runs into the woods next to her house. So she goes after him and tells him, don't do that. There's a serial killer in the woods. You have to come with me. And the woods are very ominous, but we don't really know why, like what's going on. Jane ends up convincing him to go inside and learns very quickly he has no name. He has a tattoo of 1001 on his arm. Mm-hmm. And when she asks what his name is, he says, I'm EL01. She goes, that sounds like a serial number. I'm not calling you that.
Yeah.
So she gives him the name Winter Woods because he ran into the woods and it is freezing cold outside. She goes, oh, you're freezing. You shouldn't be outside like that. How about you stay with me until the spring? And in return, you can tell me your life story because it seems like you have a pretty interesting one. So he agrees, mostly because he doesn't want to go out into the cold. And they start just cohabitating. And now you see that he really shouldn't probably be trusting people. She is kind of trying to use him for her story. Mm-hmm. But you don't really know what the intentions are and how everything's kind of falling into place. So EL01 had his bird with him. It turns out the bird was also an experiment from the alchemist. This bird's name is Roy, and he speaks fluent English. He's more eloquent than a lot of the other characters in the story. And the bird is apparently the creature that taught ELO1 how to speak, read, write, walk, all of the above. Because after the alchemist failed all of his experiments, he didn't look at him as family or as a person that he wanted near him. It was just another failure in front of his face. So he didn't really have anybody else except for this bird. And they've both been around now for who knows how long. They don't even remember the passing of years, anything, because they're just alive. So Jane finds this extremely interesting. She immediately invites her friend Sarah over. And Sarah is a researcher in a lab. And so she goes, she'll be able to tell me if you're okay. Like if, you know, your vitals are looking okay. Like you're very pale, you're very cold. And Sarah comes over and both the bird and Winter Woods now are freaking out because Sarah smells like the lab.
Oh, no.
That Winter Woods was being experimented on in. So Sarah says, no, I'm a researcher. Like, if you say that people were experimenting on you, it makes sense why you would be wary of me. But trust me, like, I'm not related. Like, it's just the smell of sterile, you know, like being in a doctor's office, whatever. And Winter says, okay, only because Jane goes, no, she would never do something like that. That's my friend. And Roy does not feel the same. Roy goes, you're not stupid. We need to get the fuck out of here. And Winter Woods says, I don't want to leave. I like Jane. And I want to see, like, more about life. I can see the life force around her. And I think she can teach me what it is to be alive. Like, I can see it's like sparks that follow her around. The way that he views her is so beautiful. And you just see this beautiful, like, yellowy, bright energy emanating off of her. And he is just so cool toned. And it's beautiful the way they portray it. So as they're living together, you notice that them falling into each other's lap is not such a coincidence after all. Unfortunately, Sarah did set this up. And she owns the lab that has been experimenting on Winter Woods.
Oh my gosh.
Not only does she own this lab, but she is the boss of the doctor who dropped him off. And the next door neighbors at Jane's apartment have been surveilling them because they work for her as well. So it is all this highly orchestrated plan for Sarah to get as much information from Winter Woods as possible. Because in the experiments, he had no trust for anybody there. He refused to talk about his story. And she goes, Jane has a good disposition. I think that she'll help get him out of his shell. So Jane has no idea about it. Winter Woods has no idea about it. And in the meantime, the entire goal is for Jane to find her really good story and to help him feel alive. And for Winter Woods to, you know, see what it means to be a living being and make meaning of his existence.
Yeah.
It is heart-wrenching. It is so beautiful. I love this one. I don't usually read all of the dramas because they make me sad. And it did make me sad. But I adore this story. I bought everything. I have not finished it. But I will be reading this entire story as soon as possible.
Yeah, it sounds really, really good. Oh my gosh. And sad.
So sad.
Also very Truman Show.
Very Truman Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all just like the perfect orchestration that Sarah wants. And it is really scary.
Yeah.
Big Brother type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy.
But such a good story.
Man.
You'll love it.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to get that one. The second one that I have, also a little bit sad at some points. So we're kind of on theme today, me and you.
Maybe it's that winter sads, the seasonal depression.
Yeah. So this one is called The Old Man and the Snow Sprite. This is a slice of life. It's very short, only 10 episodes. It's completed on Manta. And it's actually leaving on December 31st, leaving subscription. So you could still, well, I assume leaving subscription. I don't know if it will remain for Gems or not.
This one would be a little bit easier with only 10 episodes.
Yeah, it would. It's a super quick read though, so I just recommend reading it right now if you have the subscription.
Yeah.
And so this one is about a snow sprite who is basically just a walking winter. Wherever he goes, winter just follows him. And he is searching for a place to belong. He's just going around looking for a home. And as he's walking through, he's like trying to make friends with all the like little woodland creatures around him. And he happens to see an old man who is throwing away a snow globe, and it's a winter wonderland snow globe. So it's got trees, a little house in the middle, and he's throwing it in the trash. And the sprite is like very interested right away, just watching this, and really wants the snow globe. It's like, I really like that. So the old man went back to get the snow globe. He had a change of heart. So he takes it back to his house. The snow sprite follows him back to the house and follows him into the house and sees the old man put the snow globe into storage. And then the sprite goes and tries to take it. And he got in through a crack, and he tries to take the snow globe out through the same crack. But
not gonna work.
It doesn't work. And so the old man hears him trying to do this and goes and sees him and is like, what are you doing? What are you?
I was gonna say, there are more important questions here.
He calls him a little snow blob.
Aww.
And so he kicks the snow sprite out, and he's like, stay away, please. And then the snow sprite keeps coming back all the time and trying to take the snow globe.
Oh my gosh.
And the old man just keeps putting him outside and is like, leave.
Please.
So eventually, he just like goes in and starts watching the old man. He's like, I gotta figure something out. I need this snow globe.
Yeah.
So he sees the old man walking around, just kind of living his life. He sees that he really, really likes hot chocolate.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? And he always kind of is just looking out the window, kind of staring out the window. And he's kind of getting used to the old man's habits. And eventually he sees that the old man has been sitting at the window and staring for a really long time. And he knows that the hot chocolate makes him happy. So he goes to the kitchen. He's like, I'm going to make the old man a hot chocolate.
Aww.
So he tries to make it. He's being really loud and noisy. And the old man gets up and goes into the kitchen and sees him trying to make the hot chocolate and tries to talk to him and is like, what are you doing? And so the snow sprite ends up making the hot chocolates, but then he falls and like spills everything all over the kitchen floor. A huge pile of flour. This is like a grumpy sunshine, but not romantic.
Beautiful.
The old man is grumpy. The sprite is super, super sunny and happy.
The best dynamic.
I love them so much. So when the snow sprite falls into this giant pile of flour, the old man is like super, super grumpy about it. He's like, oh my gosh, you just destroyed my kitchen.
I understand it though.
Yeah. But then he notices that he can't find the snow sprite, so he starts getting worried. He's like, oh my gosh, where did the snow sprite go? And then when he sees he's hidden in a big pile of flour, he gets grumpy again.
He's like, I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but you still made a mess.
Yeah. So after this, they kind of come to an understanding. The snow sprite just starts hanging out with him, and the old man just kind of lets it happen. He's no longer trying to steal the snow globe. And he starts building snowmen, and he starts hanging out day to day. They have their hot chocolate together. He makes a snowman replica of the old man.
Aww.
And then the old man is getting really comfortable with him. And then he starts to see that the old man is going to interact with him. So he ends up starting to ask him questions, saying like, tell me about yourself and tell me about your life. So the old man starts telling about when he was younger and all of the kind of adventures that he went on and all of the things that he likes and all of that. And when the snow sprite asks him specifics, he's like, what is your favorite place that you've been? The old man is like, oh, there's just, there's too many. I can't pick just one. And so he keeps going on, and he notices after a while that the old man stops interacting with him and just starts sitting in the chair and doesn't try and like scold him for anything, is just unresponsive when he's doing anything, even when he tries to steal the snow globe. And so the sprite is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so he ends up going on the hill. He notices that the old man's house looks exactly like the inside of the snow globe. And he is trying to like show that he takes the snow globe back into the house after this, and he's trying to find ways to like bring the old man back to him. He thinks, okay, maybe winter has just gone on too long and he's become blanketed with snow. And so I am going to kind of leave off there and just kind of pull out this little quote from the description, because I don't want to give it away. It's hard to tell too much about this one without just telling you the whole story.
Yeah.
But it says that the snow sprite burrows into his life, and the old man discovers a joyous warmth that he never could have expected. It's got a really, really heartbreaking part in the middle of it where I was thinking, like, how are they going to bring this back? And it's worth it. You just have to read till the end. It's super, super sad, but super sweet. And I loved this one.
Aww.
It was so cute.
It sounds precious.
It is. And the snow sprite is just adorable.
The snow sprite is adorable. It's like the snow version of the little blob from
Jelly.
I Can See Your Stats.
Yeah, it is. It's so cute. And so sad.
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
I am so happy that we read some of the winter ones. It was actually pretty hard to find some stories that revolve around winter time.
Yeah, we looked at the webcomic Winter Wonderland.
The grouped series.
Yeah, the grouped series. And there weren't very many winter-themed ones in that grouped series. I was a little confused. I think it's just kind of a list of ones that they're saying you should read some of these while it is winter and you're stuck inside, instead of these are winter-themed.
Yeah. But you should also read while you're stuck inside.
Yes.
What else is there to do?
We advocate reading at all times.
At all times.
And in all places.
But I am so happy we found these. I do think that those really heartwarming ones are just great to read in the snowy months. It just makes you feel really happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved this. I want to seek out more of the different winter ones, especially since I think it's going to be a pretty harsh winter.
I think so.
It's been getting pretty cold here.
It's already been well below freezing.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But thank you all so much for joining us. I hope that you do take a look into some of these amazing winter series. And if you have any that you suggest that we read, especially in the coming months, definitely recommend them to us in the email down below. But looking forward to talking to you all on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.